What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler, and today I'm taking a look at the sneaker releases in the second half of October and letting you guys know which ones I think are gonna sit and which ones I think are gonna sell. As usual, I'd like to thank you so much for tuning in today. Whether you've been with the channel for a long time or you're brand new to the channel and this is your first video, I'd really like to thank you for watching. And as a small thank you for rocking with the channel, I'm actually giving away a pair of black off-white blazers. There it is, that's the official announcement. That's the pair I'm giving away. It's a size 10 purchased through StockX and the giveaway starts officially later this week. So if you'd like to know how to enter the giveaway when it starts, make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet, and also give me a follow on Instagram and on Twitter at RealSethFowler. But with all of that out of the way, now let's get to the actual video itself. If you guys aren't familiar with my sit or sell series, basically what I do is I look at all the sneakers releasing for the next 2-week period. I let you guys know what shoes are dropping and on what days, and also whether I think each shoe is gonna sit on shelves or whether it's gonna sell out. Now of course there has to be a disclaimer because all these release dates are subject to change. Brands change up release dates all the time. They add new shoes, they take away shoes. It really just depends on what the brand's feeling. So if you are trying to grab a particular shoe, make sure you're staying on top of the release dates because you never know when things change up. Not only that, but it's important to keep in mind that my sit or sell ratings are not set in stone. There have been many times when I said a shoe is gonna sit and then it sells out or vice versa, and you just can't totally rely on everything that I say. So buy a shoe because you like it and not because some random dude on the internet told you to. Also, if you're actually a serious reseller, you're probably not taking my advice anyway. So starting things off, on October 17th, we've got the much wider release of the Adidas Never Made collection. This collection originally debuted at Hype Fest, and the whole idea behind this collection is that each one of these shoes have never been made before because they're actually sort of a mix-up of two different silhouettes. Adidas actually gave me one of the pairs that they're dropping, so if you guys want to check out that video, make sure to click the link at the top of the screen. So the 7 shoes dropping on the 17th are the Crazy Boost You Wear 2 98, the EQT ZX 930, the Commanda Country, the Micropacer NMD R1, the Rising Star NMD R1, the Boston Super NMD R1, and the I5923 Marathon. Like I said, each one of these sneakers is a mashup of two different silhouettes. None of these mashups have actually ever been produced before, so I do think it's a pretty cool collection. For example, the Micropacer NMD R1s are really cool because the Micropacer is actually the sneaker that inspired the design behind the NMD. Unfortunately, the Hype Fest release originally had 8 pairs, and one of those pairs was actually a 4D mashup. It was the I5923 upper on top of a 4D outsole, and I thought it looked great. So if you had your heart set on that particular pair, it looks like you're probably gonna have to pay resale from somewhere like StockX. All 7 of these shoes are great. I definitely prefer some over others, but the deciding factor will definitely be how limited each shoe is gonna be. So when I went to Hype Fest, the only pair that actually sold out was the I5923 4D sneaker. All the other sneakers sold, but they didn't ever sell out. Like, all sizes were pretty much available throughout the entire event. And I think that could be the case with this drop. I think maybe the Boost You Wear and maybe the Micropacer, if any, sell out, but most of them I think are probably gonna sit. Still a dope collection though. I really love what Adidas is doing, and if you like any of these sneakers, I say they're definitely a good shoe to pick up. Moving on to October 18th, we've got a lot of really great sneakers dropping. The first is the Air Max 95 in Wolf Gray. This shoe is an OG Air Max 95 with a primarily wolf gray upper, but also some teal and purple accents. I personally am not a huge fan of the 95s. I don't really have any nostalgia towards them. I've always kind of thought they were a bit on the uglier side. Nothing against them, just not really my thing. But if you are an Air Max 95 collector, it's definitely a shoe worth grabbing. With that being said, I think this shoe and this colorway are not enough to really push the sneaker to sell out, so for that reason, I think it's gonna sit. Also releasing on the 18th, we've got the Air Max Deluxe Party On. This shoe is inspired by the turn of the millennia parties that were taking place when this shoe released. This colorway is meant to sort of simulate the crazy colors and fireworks and just everything that was going on during that time. I don't personally love the Air Max Deluxe, and I also don't really love this colorway, and I think a lot of people who wanted Air Max Deluxes probably picked up the previous pairs that dropped a couple months ago, so for that reason, I think this pair is probably gonna sit. Next up, we've got another sneaker that initially dropped at Hype Fest, the Air Force 1 Low John Elliott. From a distance, you probably couldn't tell that this is a special edition Air Force 1. It honestly just kind of looks like a white Air Force 1 Low. It doesn't really look that special, but when you get up close, you start to notice all the little design details that John Elliott added. One of those design details is the inset Nike swoosh, which I think is pretty cool, albeit very subtle. This shoe is absolutely clean, and if you need another pair of white Air Force 1 Lows, or you're just a huge fan of John Elliott, this is definitely a good way to go. I had the chance to pick up a pair at Hype Fest, but I passed because I just didn't really want to spend the money on it. I thought it's a good shoe, but not something I'm in love with. With that being said, I do think a lot of people are really gonna like this sneaker, and so for that reason, I think it's gonna sell. Next up is the LeBron 16 King. This is a brand new LeBron 16 colorway which comes in all maroon with some cheetah print on the heel. It's a very regal colorway, which I think is exactly what they're going for. And maroon being one of my favorite colors, especially to wear, I think this is a fire sneaker. The LeBron 16 is also an excellent basketball performer, and if you haven't yet, make sure to check out Nightwing or Wear Tester's review on the LeBron 16 because he does this crazy in-depth video. It's great. I love the video. I love the shoe. It's definitely worth checking out. I think this shoe selling out is definitely dependent on production numbers. If they produce a very small amount, then yes, of course it's gonna sell out because it'll be hyped. If it's a GR, it'll probably sit, and I'm kind of leaning towards that direction. I think it's gonna be a mass-produced sneaker, so for that reason, I'm gonna have to give it a sit. Also dropping in the 18th is a sneaker that I just got in, the Air Jordan 33 Future of Flight. This is of course the latest Air Jordan performance basketball sneaker. It doesn't actually have laces, so instead to tighten the shoe, you actually pull this tab right here, and it tightens up on the bottom, which I think is so cool. I'm gonna be dropping a lifestyle review on this sneaker probably tomorrow, so if you wanna check that out, make sure to stay tuned. Again, there are already a bunch of performance reviews out there that are way better than anything I could make, so if you wanna check those out to learn about the performance of this sneaker, check out Nightwing, check out the Soul Brothers, any of those guys, they all do good stuff. I don't think it's gonna be a very limited shoe, so if you're trying to grab a pair, I don't think it's gonna be hard to do. One thing I will say though is that the first colorway of major sneaker releases usually do sell out, so I think it's very possible that that might happen with this pair as well, so for that reason, I'm gonna give it a sell. And then finally, rounding off October 18th, we've got one of the most hyped sneaker releases of the entire month, the Off-White Nike Air Max 97 Menta. This Off-White Air Max 97 is so fire. The silver upper, the multicolor swoosh, it just looks incredible, and I love the fact that it's a little bit different than all the other Off-White sneakers that have been dropping. This is a sneaker that I'll definitely pay resale for if it's at the right price because it's just so dope. I'm of course gonna try and get a pair to review, but whether that actually happens or not, you know, most likely it won't, but I still think it's a great shoe, and if you get a pair, hit me up. But as with all other Off-White Nike sneakers, this shoe is definitely gonna sell out. Continuing on to October 19th, we've got the Air Max 1 Premium Solar Daisy. This is kind of just a floral Air Max 1, and I think everything about the sneaker is pretty nice. To be fair though, even though I think the colorway is nice and I think the actual flowers that they used are nice, I still think it's a little bit busy, especially for my taste. But it is a premium version of a popular sneaker, and I think a lot of people are into that sort of floral motif, especially on their sneakers, so I'm interested to see how it does. In my opinion, I think this is gonna be one of those weird releases that sells out on the sneakers app, but nowhere else. So I guess by saying that, I have to give the shoe a sit. Also dropping on the 19th is the Air Jordan 10 Air Huarache Light. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this one. This is part of the Tinker Air Jordan series, which takes a bunch of sneakers that were designed by Tinker Hatfield and gives them their original colorway. And by original colorway, I don't mean the original colorway that they first released with. This is the colorway that he first designed them with. It's very bright, it's very weird, it's very out there. I get the Air Huarache Light inspiration, but I just don't think it works. I really do think a lot of people feel the same way, so for that reason, I think the shoe is gonna sit. Unless it's like stupid limited, then everyone's gonna say it's fire, but we all know it's not. Moving on to October 20th, we've got the Engineered Garments Adidas Ultra Boost. This is another Adidas Ultra Boost collaboration, and overall, I think it's a pretty clean looking shoe. You've got this gum outsole, a bright blue upper, and then these white accents on the Adidas 3 stripes. If this shoe had released like 2 years ago, I think it would have sold out instantly and resale would have been insane. But unfortunately, we're witnessing the falling popularity of the Adidas Ultra Boost, and as much as I think this is an excellent sneaker, it's just not gonna draw the hype that it would have a couple years ago. That being said, I do think it's gonna sell out. Next up is another Adidas collaboration, the Billionaire Boys Club Pharrell Tennis Hu. The Tennis Hu has kind of been a sleeper hit for Adidas. It's the much more accessible version of Pharrell's very popular NMD series, and in most cases it features very similar colorways to what you get on the actual NMDs. This version is no different and features the same blue, yellow, white, and red colorway that's on the Pharrell NMDs that I'll talk about in a second. Because this shoe is more readily available and it's usually released on the same day as the NMD, it doesn't usually sell out, and I just don't think this pair is any different. I think this pair is gonna sit. Finally, rounding off October 20th, we've got the Billionaire Boys Club Adidas Pharrell Human Race NMD. Ever since images first dropped of this shoe, people have just been drooling over it. I think it's a super clean colorway, and I love what Pharrell and Billionaire Boys Club have actually done with it. However, I do think it is going to be one of the more limited Pharrell Human Race NMD releases, so for that reason, it's going to be very hard to get. And of course, like most Pharrell Human Race NMDs, it's definitely going to sell. The first release on October 23rd is a retro of one of Nike's biggest sneakers ever because it was one of the very first sneakers to have air in it, the Nike Air Tailwind 79. This running sneaker is a classic, and I think for that reason a lot of people will want to have a little bit of Nike history in their collection. I think that'll be one of the main reasons people will want to pick up this sneaker. And this is one that actually kind of has me stumped because I think a lot of people won't know the history behind this shoe and for that reason probably won't pick it up. But there are a bunch of Nike fans out there and a bunch of runners out there who know how significant this sneaker is, so I'm interested to see how it does. I think it's possible that this shoe might be a more limited drop and that it won't get that wide of a release, so for that reason, I think it could sell. Rounding off the 23rd, we've got a very Lakers themed colorway of the Nike Zoom Kobe 1 Protro. This black and purple Kobe 1 Protro is probably one of my favorite Kobe 1 colorways I've ever seen. It's just so clean. I love the purple accents. I love the mostly black look. I just think it's fire. Also, with the start of the NBA season and LeBron being on the Lakers, I think a lot more people are gonna be interested in this shoe, so for that reason, I think it's gonna sell. Moving on to October 26th, we've got the Foamposite 1 in Habanero Red. I don't really have much to say about this shoe. I think it's a clean Foamposite. I think Habanero Red is a great color. I'm from Baltimore. Foamposites were huge in Baltimore. It's always something that I admired, but I think it's safe to say the Foamposite thing, as of right now, is kind of played out, so I just don't think this shoe is gonna sell. Finally, rounding off the month, we've got the last couple releases on October 27th. The first shoe to release is the LeBron 16 multicolor. Again, like I said earlier, the LeBron 16 is an excellent basketball performer. I think it's a great looking shoe. I'm personally not a huge fan of this multicolor iteration, but I think a lot of people will be. I do think the shoe is gonna be mass produced, which means there'll be a lot of numbers available in stores. And because of that, I just don't think there's gonna be a huge group of people running out to grab this on release day. So for that reason, I think it's gonna sit. Also on the 27th, we've got two Pata Air Max 95 90s dropping. These are Air Max mashups with Air Max 90 uppers and Air Max 95 outsoles. You've got like a dark gray or blacked out colorway and then also a black, red, and white colorway. Both of these shoes aren't bad, and the fact that they're mashups probably does help their case. I won't be picking up either one just because I don't feel like I need them, but I'm sure people will want to grab this shoe. They are also supposed to be pretty limited, so because of that, I think there is a good chance that they will sell out. The last Nike sneaker to drop on October 27th is the Air Jordan 11 Platinum Tin. The Air Jordan 11 has always been a very popular sneaker, and up until recently, Nike was only releasing versions of them around Christmas time. Over the last probably 3 years or so, Jordan Brand has been releasing a lot more 11s throughout the year. And unfortunately, because of that, we've kind of gotten some boring colorways. And honestly, I think this Air Jordan 11 is one of those more kind of meh releases. I don't mind the colorway, however, I'm not a huge fan of the placement of some of the red accents. I think it's a little bit weird. I've heard from multiple people the materials aren't bad, so that's definitely something it has going for it, but it's just not something I really want to pick up. However, in like the last 5 years or so, there has yet to be an Air Jordan 11 high that hasn't sold out. And I'm certain this colorway is not going to break that trend, so for that reason, I think it's going to sell. Moving over to the Adidas side of things, we've got two more Dragon Ball Z collaboration sneakers dropping. I'm not a fan of Dragon Ball Z, I never watched it, so it was kind of a surprise to me when those original Dragon Ball Z sneakers sold out. I didn't really realize how many people were so nostalgic about that show, because I could care less, honestly, but I think it's fair to say that any sneaker in this collaboration is probably gonna sell, especially since all the sneaker boxes in this collection, when put together, form this really cool piece of art. The two sneakers dropping this time around are the D-Rupt in the Sun Gohan colorway and the Pro Fear in the Cell colorway. I don't know who either of those people are, you guys definitely do. From a strictly visual point of view, I don't like either of these sneakers. I think the colorways kind of are weird on both, but that didn't stop you guys from picking up the previous Dragon Ball Z sneakers, so that's probably not gonna be any different this time around. So purely based on the hype, I'm gonna have to give these shoes a sell. And then finally, the last release of this month is the Yeezy Boost 700 in the Mauve colorway. I love the Yeezy Boost 700. I've always loved the 700. I think it's such a dope silhouette. This Mauve colorway, or realistically more like a dark brown colorway, is definitely more subtle than the original. And for me, that kind of sucks because I like the craziness of the original, but I know from a lot of people, like I've talked to Yeezy Busta about it, they really like that more subtle colorway. Will I be picking up a pair? Absolutely, because I know you guys definitely want to see a review. And if you were still wondering, just like most Yeezys, this shoe will definitely sell out. But that about wraps up the video for today. I'd love to know your thoughts on the sneakers that are dropping in the next couple of weeks and which ones you're looking forward to most. So of course, make sure to leave those comments in the comment section down below. Also, if you want to learn more information about the upcoming Nike Off-White Blazer giveaway, make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet, and give me a follow on Instagram and on Twitter at @RealSethFowler. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe down below if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.